Live from Burbank, the media capital of the world.
To participate in the general public comment period, please call now at 818-238-3335. For any scheduled public hearings, please call when prompted to speak if you want the comment to be part of the record. Speaking times will be determined by the total number of public comment cards and callers in the queue at the start of each public comment period. For 1 to 20 total speakers, each speaker will receive up to 3 minutes. For 21 to 39 total speakers, each speaker will receive up to 2 minutes. And for 40 plus total speakers, each speaker will receive up to 1 minute. No additional comment cards or calls will be accepted once the public comment period begins.
Interpreters are available for assistance with in-person public comment. Please connect with them if you are in need of services. Hay servicios de interpretación disponibles para asistir con los comentarios públicos en persona. Por favor, habla con un intérprete si necesita estos servicios.
Եթե տեղում մեկնաբանություն եք անում, թարգմանիչի կարիք ունեք, միացեք թարգմանչի հետ օգնության համար։
Good evening and welcome to a regular meeting of the Burbank City Council on Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. I would like to let everyone know that Councilmember Perez is currently in Washington, D.C., attending the American Public Power Association Legislative Rally. She serves on the APPA Policymakers Council, and the legislative rally is a great opportunity for her to speak with lawmakers and advocate on behalf of the city of Burbank. So we miss you if you're watching, Nikki. Please join me for a moment of reflection. This moment is intended to begin our meeting with the positive and collective support for our beloved community. The City Council welcomes everyone joining us this evening. We encourage you to take a moment to reflect on our community and the work we will be doing tonight. Although each of us has their own unique reasons for being here, we are united in our passion for our wonderful city. As we pause, let us consider our individual contributions and what they mean to those around us. Let us find solace in knowing that by working together with a shared spirit of community and partnership, we will always act responsibly for the betterment of Burbank. Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam City Clerk. How are you today?
I'm terrific. How are you, Madam Mayor?
I'm doing great. Will you please conduct the roll call?
With pleasure. Councilmember Anthony?
Present.
Noting the absence of Councilmember Perez. Councilmember Rosati?
I am here.
Vice Mayor Mullins?
Here.
And Mayor Takahashi?
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. There will be 3 periods of public comment tonight. Members of the public may comment in person or by phone during the general public comment period and must submit cards or call before the general public comment period begins. The first public comment period is for general public comment on any matter concerning city business and or any agenda item. If you are here in person and wish to speak during general public comment, please submit a yellow public card to address the council to the city clerk over here. If you would like to participate in the general public comment over the phone, please call now at 818-238-3335. Callers will be placed in a queue until the general public comment period begins, at which time no additional calls will be taken. Additional public comment periods will be available following each report to council this evening. Interpreters are also available for assistance with public comment. We have both Spanish and Armenian interpreters here with us this evening, sitting in the front row. Please connect with them if you are in need of services, and feel free to just walk over to them and speak with them if you would like some assistance. Tonight, we are adjourning in memory of Linda Murphy, longtime resident and sports equality advocate who passed away on January 26, 2026. She was 82 years old. Miss Murphy grew up in Burbank and played on the very first Burbank Parks and Recreation Girls Softball League in 1957. Long before Title IX, Miss Murphy advocated for unbiased playing rules, uniforms, equal gym time, and competitive play for girls and women. She broke through barriers to reach uncharted territory in female sports. Her ambition and persistence earned her a spot on the first U.S. Olympics women's volleyball team in 1964. She made every USA national team roster during her career, 9 total, and her team won several recognitions through the years, including 8 USA Open National Championship titles and 5-time first-team All-American. Miss Murphy was named an all-time great player in 1971. Miss Murphy spent her career as a physical education teacher for Burbank Unified School District and coached at John Burroughs High School, Los Angeles Valley College, Cal State Northridge, and USA Volleyball. In recognition of her enduring contributions, the City of Burbank established the Linda Murphy Pioneer Award. The award is presented annually as part of the Parks and Recreation Civitan and Jamboree event to honor a female athlete who exemplifies leadership, sportsmanship, and a commitment to inclusion and opportunity. Miss Murphy's lifetime advocacy for sports equality will forever benefit the girls and women in the Burbank community and beyond. So on behalf of the Burbank City Council, I would like to express my condolences to Linda's family and friends. Her legacy will live on in Burbank for years to come. And now we have 5 announcements.
The following are announcements for February 24th, 2026. The City of Burbank is continuing community engagement for the potential new Central Library and Public Plaza through a series of community workshops. These workshops are intended to gather public input on priorities, needs, and ideas that will help shape the project's early vision, with future steps guided by community feedback and City Council direction. The last workshop of this series will be held online Wednesday, February 25th from 7 to 8 p.m. Additional details and registration information are available at newburbanklibrary.com. The City of Burbank is proud to launch Film Burbank, a new campaign celebrating Burbank's century-long legacy as a premier destination for film, television, animation, and digital media production. With iconic studios and a streamlined permitting process, Film Burbank will showcase the resources, talent, and creative community that make Burbank the media capital of the world. Learn more at burbankca.gov/Film Burbank. Burbank Tech Talks is hosting its next mixer on February 26th at 5:30 p.m. at Story Tavern. The focus for this mixer will be on the media industry. The event is a chance for creatives to meet fellow professionals, share stories, and explore opportunities in a relaxed setting. For more information and to RSVP, please email econdev@burbankca.gov. The City of Burbank has launched the second year of the Pilot Community Events and Program Grant to eligible community nonprofit organizations for events and/or program initiatives that foster community engagement and benefit the Burbank community at large. The application period will open on March 2nd and close on April 2nd. For more information, including eligibility requirements, workshop information, detailed guidelines, important dates, and application link, please visit the city's webpage. Join the Ike Smart City team for a community meeting to learn more about Ike's digital wayfinding kiosk program on Tuesday, March 3rd from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at the Los Angeles Marriott Burbank Airport Convention Center foyer, 2500 North Hollywood Way. Attendees will have an opportunity to interact with a live kiosk, learn how the technology supports wayfinding and mobility, and ask questions directly of the Ike team. All community members are welcome to attend. This concludes the announcements for this evening.
All right, good evening, everybody. So our first presentation this evening is the presentation of a proclamation declaring February 19th, 2026 as a Day of Remembrance Japanese American Evacuation in the city of Burbank. I'd like to welcome Nancy Takayama from the San Fernando Valley Japanese American Community Center to join me at the podium. Welcome, Nancy. Yes, no worries. Okay. Thank you for taking the time to come out to Burbank and join us this evening. Let me grab the proclamation here. Pardon me. Sorry. I should have grabbed it earlier. So I'm going to read the proclamation, and then we have an opportunity to speak. Okay. All right. So here's the proclamation, Day of Remembrance, Japanese American Evacuation. Whereas on February 19th, 1942, President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed Executive Order 9066, which authorized the forced removal and incarceration of over 120,000 persons of Japanese ancestry, 2/3 of whom were American citizens. And whereas this action uprooted families, disrupted lives, and caused immeasurable hardship and injustice to Japanese Americans, including those who lived and worked in communities across California and here in Burbank. And whereas Burbank served as a local reporting and gathering location where Japanese American residents were directed to appear, register, and prepare for removal under the authority of the Wartime Civic Control Administration. And whereas Japanese Americans were integral members of our society, contributed to agriculture, business, and civic life, and their forced removal left a lasting impact on communities throughout the state. Whereas following the war's end in 1945, many Japanese American families returned to Southern California to rebuild their lives amid severe housing shortages, discrimination, and economic hardship caused by the executive order. And whereas in response to the urgent need for temporary housing, the federal government established trailer camps in Burbank, including a site on Winota and a site on Magnolia to provide essential transitional housing for hundreds of returned families. Whereas the Day of Remembrance provides an opportunity to reflect on this dark chapter in American history, to acknowledge the resilience and strength of those who endured these injustices, and to honor their contributions to rebuilding and enriching our communities. And whereas the City of Burbank recognizes that safeguarding civil liberties and constitutional rights for all people is essential to the health and strength for our democracy, and that we must remain vigilant against prejudice, discrimination, and violations of human rights. By observing this Day of Remembrance, let it serve as a crucial reminder to never repeat the injustices as the ones committed against Japanese Americans during World War II, ensuring the protection of rights for all. So now, therefore, I, Tamala Takahashi, Mayor of the City of Burbank, do hereby proclaim February 19th, 2026 as a Day of Remembrance, Japanese American Evacuation in the City of Burbank. I encourage all citizens to honor the memory of those affected and to work together to ensure that such injustices are never repeated.
We're going to have you speak, and then we'll do the... Thank you. I want to share a true story that some of you may have heard before or may even relate to. Sue was a high school student living at home with her parents. One day, without warning, federal agents entered their house. They handcuffed her father and took him away. No explanation, no information about where he was going, no timeline, nothing. For months, Sue and her family had no idea where he was being held. They felt helpless and alone, but their community did not turn away. Their local Catholic church stepped in. Co-workers and neighbors organized a letter-writing campaign, Together, they worked to contact government offices and demand an answer. Because of that effort, they were finally able to identify the agency holding her father and begin the process of finding him. Sue's father had been transferred from the Los Angeles County Jail to the Department of Justice camps, Tuna Canyon Detention Station in California, Lordsburg in New Mexico, Santa Fe, New Mexico, Fort Bliss, Texas, and finally Crystal City, Texas, before he was finally reunited with his family a year and a half later. If you haven't figured it out, this happened in 1942, and Sue was my mother. February 19th, the Day of Remembrance, is observed each year to remind us that this forced removal happened here in America. In 1988, President Ronald Reagan signed the Civil Liberties Act of 1988, formally apologizing for the wrongful incarceration of 120,000 Japanese Americans. Let's not wait another 46 years for America to recognize and correct the wrongful actions. Let us act, but be safe and know your rights. I share these red cards for you to carry to protect yourself, family, and friends. I left these cards here, and there's posters out in the lobby. Take home to your family, to your friends, and just know your rights. I thank Burbank for recognizing the Day of Remembrance of February 19th. Thank you.
Thank you. So, thank you so much for sharing your personal story. And if it's okay, I'd like to share briefly one of my personal stories too. So this here is an actual poster, a copy of an actual poster from a stack that didn't make it onto the walls in Burbank, but it was in that stack of those who did. And this was a reporting poster with the address on Magnolia for if your mother had lived in Burbank, that's where her father would have reported. So this is part of our history too. This is a real poster, and this was hanging in our home, and now it's in my office, and it's an important reminder for our own family. If my family, right now, my husband is Issei, my children are Nisei, Takahashi-san desu ne. And if right now this was posted on the wall, our family would be that. So it's very personal to us, and I really appreciate you coming out to do this proclamation because it's the first time in Burbank we've done it, and it's very important to me. So thank you. And the posters will be out in the hallway for a little while for folks to see. Okay, great. There's pictures of the Winona camp out there to see what it was actually like in the housing that was available after the war for the folks. All right. All right, next up. Page 2. Our next presentation this evening is a presentation of a proclamation declaring February 1st through 28th as National Children's Dental Health Month in the city of Burbank. I welcome Dale Gorman, Executive Director of Kids Community Dental Clinic, and Artender Ohanian, Board Member for the clinic, to join me at the podium. And anyone else you want to have come up, the whole team, please bring you all up. So thank you for joining us. Would you like to share a few words about the Kids Dental Clinic?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, for inviting us, for having us over for this wonderful occasion. And I know we're talking about the National Children's Dental Health Month. My name is Artender Ohanian. I'm a member of the Kids Community Dental Clinic. On behalf of everyone at the Kids Community Dental Clinic, thank you, truly, all, for recognizing this month as the National Children's Dental Health Month, as well as recognizing some of our longest tenured dentists at the Kids Community Dental Clinic. That's Dr. Knox and Dr. Messeridgian. They will be receiving certificates tonight, well-deserved and with our gratitude. Their decades of service to this community reflect the extraordinary commitment to the health and the happiness of our children. We are deeply grateful that you've taken the time to honor their dedication. The Kids Community Dental Clinic has been a part of this community for decades, and the impact of our work is clear. From in-school dental screenings and education programs to compassionate care provided in our clinic, we see healthier smiles, greater confidence, and a brighter future in the children that we serve. Yet, every day, we meet kids who come to us carrying more than just tooth pain. They carry fear, they carry insecurity, and sometimes they carry that quiet feeling of being overlooked. But when they leave our clinic, they leave smiling. A real confident smile that says, I'm cared for and I matter. We've seen children who couldn't eat or sleep because of pain finally be able to laugh again. We've seen shy kids find their voices after their very first visit. And we've seen parents, sometimes with tears in their eyes, whisper to our doctors, "Thank you, they're out of pain now." What we do and what these doctors do is more than just dentistry. It's healing, it's dignity, and it's community. And it's only possible because of the support and the recognition that we receive from you, from our city leaders. So, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. Thank you for helping build a community where every child, no matter their background, can grow up healthy, happy, and proud of their smile. Thank you.
Okay, Dale and Arden, would you like to do the certificates first? Or, okay, why don't we do the certificates first, and then we'll read the proclamation. So here, let's see. First we have Timothy Knox. Timothy? Dr. Knox, I should say. Dr. Knox. So, welcome. Thank you. Thank you. So, Dr. Knox, in recognition of your decades of service to Burbank Kids Community Dental Clinic, how many years have you been? 40. 40 years. Oh, my goodness. Wow. On behalf of the Burbank City Council, I thank you for your commitment and dedication to serving the Burbank community and wish you all the best. And then, don't go too far. And then Dr. Charles Messeridgian. Okay, welcome. Round of applause for Dr. Messeridgian. Yes. Similarly, your decades of service, how many years? 40 as well. Thank you so much. So your 40 years of service to the Burbank Kids Community Dental Clinic. On behalf of the Burbank City Council, I thank you for your commitment and dedication to serving the Burbank community and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Would you like? Yeah, of course. Sure, quick, yeah.
I appreciate the city of Burbank for bestowing this award on me. And I feel it goes to all of the people that work at the clinic. We have over 100 volunteers, dentists, hygienists, dental assistants, and under the leadership of Dale Gorman, it's an ideal clinic for the children who are in need of dental care. And if there are any dentists here, or you know of any dentists, we're always looking for volunteers, and we appreciate any further assistance from the city of Burbank that they can offer our clinic. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm going to squeeze by here and grab the proc, read this real quick, and then we'll do picks, okay? Okay, so National Children's Dental Health Month. Whereas in 1949, the American Dental Association proclaimed February 8th as National Children's Dental Health Day, which was extended to a month-long recognition in 1981. And whereas the Kids Community Dental Clinic of Burbank evolved out of a need to fill a crucial gap in oral health care services for children of low-income families, and whereas their mission is to provide affordable, quality dental care and preventative education for children of the working poor in an environment conducive to promoting good health, and whereas chronic dental problems can lead to difficulty in eating, speaking, and concentrating, and serious tooth decay is an infectious disease for which there is no immunization, and whereas routine dental examinations uncover problems that can be treated in the early stages when damage is minimal and restorations may be small, now, therefore, I, Tamala Takahashi, Mayor of the City of Burbank, do hereby proclaim February 1st to 28th, 2026 as National Children's Dental Health Month. So let's get the search receivers in the middle here. There we are, and then let's get you also here. You can have this.
Okay, looking right here. And one more. Beautiful smiles.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all you do. Thank you. Did I do hugs? Yeah.
Large toothbrush collection.
Also, on behalf of Providence St. Joseph's
Here.
On behalf of Providence St. Joseph's Hospital, where the clinic started, we did a dental drive, and we also volunteered at the last event. Obviously, this is something that's near and dear to our hearts as well, and we want to continue the sisters' legacy with them. So, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Congratulations, all, and thank you for all you do. All right, next up is City Manager. Do we have a report tonight?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I actually do not have anything for tonight, so thank you.
Then you have to wait for me to get back to my... Yeah. All right, Mr. City Attorney, will you please report on closed session?
Yes, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the City Council, and for the benefit of the public, the City Council met in closed session this afternoon at 5 p.m. this evening, actually, pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8 to meet with the city's real property negotiator, Ms. Simone McFarland, Assistant Community Development Director, to discuss price and terms of acquisition of 110 West Olive in the city of Burbank. The City Council took no reportable action this evening.
Great, thank you. All right, now is the time for general public comment. I will be calling out the speaker's name as well as the person who is next in line to speak. In order to keep public comment moving in a timely fashion, we have a designated seat in the front row for speakers who are next up at the podium, and it says public comment on the seat. A timer is available at the podium. This is also the last call for anyone who needs an interpreter, or the staff members will be released for the evening. Have you received any requests for interpretation? All right. Well, thank you for being here and being willing to serve, and have a good evening. Okay. Persons may choose to use the first period of public comment to address an agendized report, but will not be able to speak on that report following the segment. When you speak, please state your name for the record. The general public comment period is now beginning, and no additional cards will be accepted. Madam City Clerk, how many public comment cards do we have for general public comment, and how many callers?
We have 18 for in-person comments, and we have 5 or potentially 4 callers because one is dropped, and we do always let them call back.
Okay. So if I'm doing my math right, that's 23. Okay. So based on 23 number of speakers, the time limit will be 2 minutes tonight. Okay. All right, so first up is going to be Christina Kopelman, followed by Glenn Forsch. Welcome, you have 2 minutes.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, who's potentially joining virtually, and members of the City Council. First and foremost, thank you very much for your time and attention and consideration. As a dedicated resident of our city, Burbank, for over 6 years, and my background in civil engineering, I I am here to formally express my keen interest in potentially filling the vacancy to serve on the Burbank Water and Power Board. I have long admired the board's work in shaping our daily lives, and finally the opportunity has presented itself. So here I am. I am eager to contribute my skills because I want to leverage my 2 decades of public sector engineering experience to directly benefit our community. Throughout my career, I have observed the critical need to aligning ambitious public project goals with practical constructability and fiscal responsibility. I believe my technical background, combined with extensive experience navigating public sector contracting and project management, enables me to offer valuable, actionable insight to this committee. I am deeply committed to enhancing our community and bringing practical result-driven perspectives shaped by years of public sector service. I strive to promote transparent, efficient, and sustainable development, ensuring that the public infrastructure projects are delivered on time, within budget, and built to provide lasting value for both current residents and future generations. Serving in this role would allow me to give back to the community by applying my professional expertise to help shape policy, review projects, and guide decisions with long-term impact. As a mother of 2 young boys and an active PTA member.
Thank you.
Is that time?
That's
Okay.
time.
All right,
thank
thank you.
Goes fast. All right, next up is Glenn Forsch, followed by Ron Bax. Welcome. You have 2 minutes.
Madam Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, gentlemen, councilmen. My name is Glenn Forsch. I live on Scott Road in Burbank. I'm here to talk about a safety issue of e-bikes, e-scooters, e-skateboards that are running on the sidewalks. They are a safety issue for people who have small children, animals, dogs, seniors who can't move very fast, and other people that can't hear them. I've almost been hit myself walking 2 times. What I would like you to do is to consider a ordinance or adjusting a current ordinance to allow devices like this on the front of the e-vehicles. And you know when you press the button to cross the crosswalk and it chirps? A device like that to require, if these guys are going to ride on the sidewalks, they'll have this and the noise so people can hear them and stay out of their way. The safety issue is if they run into somebody, they're going to get hurt. They may fly, like on Angelino and Glen Oaks. If the rider hits somebody, he may fly through the window of a business, have a big mess. At my house, where Reese Place and Orchard comes together on Scott, the houses have their property right to the edge of their lots. So when the person is riding the e-bike down Scott, he can't see who's coming up on Reese Place and vice versa. Same issue there. Some of these people, when I came tonight, these kids were riding on Eaton. They were doing about 20 miles an hour because they're going downhill. It's a real safety issue, and I think we have to be very positive to deal with it before somebody gets injured, and that's my concern. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Ron Bax, followed by Robert Nielsen. Welcome. You have 2 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, and staff. On February 13th, 2026, I sent an email to the council members and staff adding context to my presentation at the City Council meeting on February 10th, 2026. No one has responded, therefore I would like to read it into the public record. It has now been 3 years of housing providers requesting a public meeting with the council. The council has expressed tacit commitment for such an event, but has yet to occur. The mediation provision proposed for the soft rent cap ordinance appears to be a bone thrown to housing providers to offset the numerous concessions that have been given to tenants. I am galled by the city's apparent ignorance that any savvy housing provider knows engaging in mediation is an invitation to be sued. It is extremely insulting that the City Council is not placating, which in itself is disrespectful, but rather completely ignoring housing providers' concerns. In fact, it is far worse. Housing providers are being attacked, assaulted, assailed, reviled, vilified, scolded, disparaged, maligned, and dismissed. I implore you to investigate what it is to be a housing provider rather than rely upon speculation, assumptions, guesswork, or worse, hunches. You will find the universe housing providers operate in is far greater than owning property and collecting rent. Oh, by the way, I checked the Housing Enforcement Unit website today. This is the form. It still hasn't been changed. It's been 9 months, I believe. There's still not a complaint form for housing providers can use. It took me 20 minutes to create and submit a proposed example. I expected the city staff would create an official version within the last 9 months, but I'm resigned myself to accept being disappointed. It demonstrates the utter disdain the city must have for housing providers. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Robert Nielsen, followed by Mark Scroggs. Welcome. You have 2 minutes.
Hi, I'm Robert Nielsen, and I'm here for the Burbank Water and Power position. I was one of 3 applicants for this slot back in 2025. Although I was not selected, I still have a desire to serve my community, my home. I have been a resident of Burbank for 27 years. After graduating from the University of Iowa with a degree in environmental science and geology, I moved here and began my career in energy at Southern California Gas Company. More recently, I've been working fuel cell and hydrogen generation projects for municipalities, government agencies, and the private sector. With 27 years experience in the regulated and deregulated commodity markets, and have partnered with various state and federal regulatory agencies on incentive programs, utility compliance, and joint project development. I have worked origination, structuring, transacting wholesale power and natural gas deals. In addition, I have managed the sales, purchase, and exchanges of energy transmission of unbundled services, including options, seasonal exchanges, locational swaps, and asset optimization. I have in-depth experience with virtual power plants, power purchase agreements, budgets, and finance. I have a long history of working with cities, municipal agencies to develop on-site generation projects and decarbonization roadmaps. In addition, I have implemented demand response programs and electricity supply for many water districts throughout California. I currently subscribe to Burbank Water and Power's residential demand response program, and I find it fantastic. I welcome the opportunity to serve on the Burbank Water and Power Board and use my experience to help the city reach its energy management goals. I thank you for your consideration for this position.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Mark Scroggs, followed by Stephanie Gerard. Welcome. You have 2 minutes.
Alrighty. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mark Scroggs. First, I want to say that it's great that Hallmark is relocating, or has relocated, I'm not sure what they've done yet, to Burbank. I covered the studio off and on for 25, 30 years, and they're a good company. They used to film, just so you know, 12 to 14 movies, TV movies here. They did a lot of business in Southern California. Now they shoot mostly in Canada and in the Midwest. The same with their series. Their series, I think, are all in Canada. Their projects are producer, star, and tax incentive driven. Film Burbank, which just started, has to make filming here appealing for them and everyone, but especially with the incentives, which I've dealt with them on that. So I just want to say that, I've emailed the mayor saying that, we should put a little Christmas town or a little Halloween town here, because I think that's what they did in Utah to get movies, seriously. Also, with Warner Brothers Discovery, I was telling someone today, this is becoming like the HBO series industry with mega craziness replacing the sex and the drugs. It's just all over the place. It's got to be stopped some one way or another. Who knows how it can be done? Rob Bonta, our Attorney General, is finally getting involved. It's great for people to reach out to him through the AG website. Also, international corporations and governments are going to probably try to stop it too, since this is an international deal. So just be aware of it, because you can see a lot of businesses, if Paramount in particular takes over, you're going to see like Poquito Moss and Doghouse and all these places start to really be hurting, because there'll be less stuff going on there. So that's it for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Stephanie Gerard, followed by Carrie Noren. Welcome. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council members. I'm here tonight as a member of the Cultural Arts Commission to highlight the impact of Burbank's Community Arts Grant Program. The program launched as a 3-year pilot in October of 2023 through the city's Parks and Rec Department. Its goals are simple but powerful: to support local arts and nonprofit arts organizations, expand access to arts experiences, encourage community participation, and celebrate the cultural diversity of Burbank. The program is open to professional artists and nonprofit groups across the Los Angeles County, with projects required to take place here in Burbank. Applications are reviewed by an independent panel based on artistic merit, community impact, viability, and inclusion. The Burbank-based arts received a residency credit to ensure local creatives are uplifted. With the recent announcement of our third cycle, the program has now supported 51 projects, awarding nearly $160,000, with more than 60% of the grants going directly to Burbank-based artists and organizations. Impact. But beyond the numbers, the program's impact has been profound. It has made ambitious cultural projects possible. Many artists told us their work simply would not have happened without this support. It has ensured artists are paid and valued. It has elevated the quality and professionalism of events. It has seeded new programs and long-term growth. And perhaps most importantly, it has strengthened community connection, helping artists return to serve their hometown, like the Burbank Philharmonic, the next speaker. Activate new spaces, partner with local venues and businesses, and bring diverse audiences together. Again and again, we hear this program does more than fund projects. It signals that the city of Burbank values its artists and cultural life. And I also just quickly, I want to endorse Jean Marinelli for Art in Public Places.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Carrie Norin, followed by Natalie Tremaine. Welcome, you have 2 minutes.
Hi, I'm Carrie Norin. This is John Acchetto. We're with the Burbank Philharmonic Orchestra. We're the only professional orchestra in the San Fernando Valley, and we're one of the recipients of the Community Arts Grant. We'd like to thank the City Council for this generous award. This grant will support our free concert. It's happening next month at Burbank High School. It's on Sunday, March 22nd at 3 p.m. We've scheduled this as a matinee so that families can attend and senior citizens. We're calling it Free at 3. The money from this grant is being spent in Burbank. We're employing local union musicians, renting 2 local venues. We're using local printers. Students from Burbank High will be on the tech crew. And a string quartet from Burbank High will be performing before the concert. In fact, these kids will have just returned from performing at Carnegie Hall, so that's pretty cool. I just want to give you a little background on the orchestra. It began as a community orchestra back in the 1920s here in Burbank. After World War II, professional musicians were added from the local film studios. In those early days, the symphony performed on a simple platform stage up in Stowe Canyon. They had lanterns for lighting, and the audience sat on logs. That site is now the Starlight Bowl. And the Starlight Bowl was built primarily as a venue for the orchestra. Today, as the only professional orchestra in the San Fernando Valley, we're proud to continue this tradition of free, live, professional quality orchestral music for the city of Burbank. This concert will involve dozens of artists in its production and touch hundreds of residents with its performance. And again, I want to invite the City Council and the public to our free concert at Burbank High. It's Sunday, March 22nd at 3 p.m., free at 3. Thanks very much.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Natalie Tremaine, followed by Natasha Middleton. Welcome. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. May I yield to Natasha for my 2 minutes?
Yes.
Okay,
we can
thank you.
do together.
Okay.
Yes, she does. So you have 4 minutes together.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. On behalf of Pacific Ballet Theater, I want to sincerely thank the City of Burbank for your cultural support for the beautiful Cultural Arts Grant, and this is our second grant. Thank you. Your investment allows to provide meaningful and arts education and performing opportunities. Pacific Ballet Theater has long been committed to artistic excellence, accessibility, and I call us the hidden gem on Palm Avenue. but we are preserving the classical traditions of ballet. And this year's is especially meaningful for us. For our founder, my father, who established the company in Los Angeles in the early 1950s, will be celebrating his 100th birthday. 100 years of life and legacy to this art. He has also passed that down to me, and I have to also acknowledge the fact that he is a Navy World War veteran, and his story is in a book right now. But his vision was simple but powerful, building a lasting home for dance. Now 25 years, I have been here in Burbank, and I have continued to build that as artistic director. But lastly, ballet is transformative and powerful. Pacific Ballet Theater and our school Media City Dance remains committed to expanding and strengthening our community partnership. But we wish to thank you for believing in the arts. We thank you for supporting the youth, and thank you for helping us carry forward a 100-year legacy. But may I introduce the legacy himself, the original of the Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo and the original Pacific Ballet Theater, my father, who will be 100 in August, Andre Tremaine. We will continue to bring as much as we can as your professional ballet company since 2000. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Diana Pulver, followed by Corey Mensing. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. My name is Diana Pulver, and I am a housing provider. If the city wants to provide low-cost housing, then the city should get into the housing business. Instead of targeting housing providers with additional rent control, let's not forget that Measure RC was voted down, and again I say, AB 1482 is more than sufficient. Instead, the city should consider investing in the development of low-cost housing. If the cost of development is too high, the city could also consider purchasing existing property to convert into low-cost housing. At present, there are approximately 24 multi-unit family properties for sale in the city of Burbank. The city would be able to set its own rates, albeit with AB 1482 in mind, and run its business as it sees fit. There are few public housing success stories. If done right, Burbank could set an example for other cities to follow. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Corey Mensing, followed by Cynthia Pease. Welcome.
I sneezed and didn't really recover, so excuse my nasaliness. Hello, Council. Mayor Takahashi, thank you for your proclamation. I think that's super important to acknowledge as part of our heritage. I don't think I've ever commented on the same thing twice, so tonight I wanted to bring up an email I received from ChargePoint on February 2nd. Is that better? That wasn't just the sneeze. So ChargePoint said that they'll be charging a new fee starting in March between 25 cents and $1 per session. So that might not seem like a lot, but it'll add up. I wasn't able to print 10 copies tonight, but I can forward it to you later. I did forward it to BWP that night asking if this would impact Burbank, but I didn't hear back. So earlier tonight I called ChargePoint and they confirmed it would impact all public stations starting March 1st. So sweating intensifies. That was the first I was able to get a confirmed date on that. So in this time of massively rising costs and junk fees, I'm really grateful for the existing BWP time of use, which is that time of use where as long as you're charging between 11 p.m. and 8 a.m., your fees are lower. So on a normal day, I'm usually asleep at that time. And I think we all know with the coyote situation, after dark, it's like I am legend. But at least that's something that's within our control. So in this time, you look at like what's in my control, what's not. So the flat fee per session will fundamentally change how we're using these stations. So if you're running errands or going to a park, it's not gonna make sense to charge while like you're in the mall or at McCambridge Park. And visitors could potentially be charged more. I'm not a visitor and I'm still freaking out about it. My vehicle won't charge from 0% in 2 hours. Don't ask how I know that. But it will take at least 2 sessions to attain full charge, and that means 2 fees. So that being said, just wondering if it's something that we can look into.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Cynthia Pease, followed by Eric Hawk. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor Takahashi and Honorable City Council and staff. Thank you for all you do. You have a challenging job. May you, may the force be with you, as I say. 2 quick subjects tonight. First of all, I moved out here in 1981, and while I was working, I took ballet lessons from that gentleman who was sitting behind me. And then later on, his daughter comes to me and goes, I want to have a ballet company like my father. And Vice President Rollins from Warner Brothers gave me the money in 2000 to start the nonprofit for the Ballet Russe. Okay, he's the last. We did something at the Bullocks Wilshire that sold out, and the LA Times was there, and it was the 7 men of the Ballet Russe back in the day. So I'm just very proud of them, and they have danced with the Burbank, Symphony at the Starlight Bowl. So maybe new things. So it's a new world. I have to bring up an issue that is kind of sensitive, and this is on behalf of 2 people. A former member of the Arts Commission was in a fast food restaurant with her daughter, and she was stared down by agents of the immigration department and had to leave the restaurant. And then secondly, a current art teacher that I have now through the city program was at Lowe's, and they filmed him, and then they took his license plate, and they filmed the license plate as well. So I just need you to be sensitive to what is going on right here in town. People are starting to worry about how they go out and that they carry their passports. Okay, and then back to the arts. Thank you for the grants. We have a new grant cycle. There was an animation program last week that was absolutely fabulous. We're all excited about the potential of a new library.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Eric Hawk, followed by Susan O'Carroll. Welcome.
All right. Hey to the wonderful members of the Burbank City Council, terrific city staff, and others who've taken time out of their evening to participate in this meeting. My name, again, for the record, is Eric Hawk. I'm the current president of the Board of Directors of the Burbank Community Band. And first of all, the Burbank Community Band and I are incredibly grateful for this city through its Parks and Recreation Department, its Cultural Arts Commission, in efforts to develop the Community Arts Grant Program and support a variety of artists and artistic groups here in Burbank. The band is also incredibly grateful to have been selected as a recipient of funds from this most recent community arts grant. Some wonderful applicants were on the list this time around, and we're just really cool to be on the same list with them. The support from this council certainly helps your community band share music here in Burbank. And about our show. On Saturday, April the 11th, at 2 p.m., the main stage of Dolores Huerta Middle School, the Burbank Community Band will be presenting Milestones of Freedom, a concert celebrating the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, as well as the 175th anniversary of California statehood. The concert will present music composed in America in the late 1700s, but also, as the title suggests, Milestones of Freedom. The concert will highlight historic moments where freedoms and liberties have changed and expanded and transformed, from the abolition of slavery, the birth of jazz, and the expansion of creative expression to the civil rights movement in the 1960s. Your community band is designing a concert that will be an uplifting event, an event highlighting great goals achieved through struggle and sacrifice and the making of a better land for us all. Hope you all can make it to the show. That'll be a free concert, Milestones of Freedom at Dolores Huerta Middle School, April 11th at 2 p.m. I'll end there.
Good timing. Thank you for your comment. Next up is Susan O'Carroll, followed by Harry Tamurian. Welcome.
I'm here tonight for the SB 79 update. I don't see an update on the council agenda, but it's been approximately a month since staff provided council with a report on the dangers of SB 79. So I'm assuming that a promised periodic update will be provided to council and the community tonight, particularly given the legislative timeline and the short time frame before SB 79 takes effect. Here are my key questions. 1, staff indicated they had appointments scheduled with key state legislative committees to discuss SB 79, 677, and 908. What committees did city meet with, who attended, and what was the outcome? 2, what discussions have staff and council had with our state representatives, Senator Minjavar and Assemblyman Schultz, regarding SB 79? Will they and have they sponsored legislation to make SB 79 less damaging? 3rd, staff indicated they would be sending a letter to Metro regarding the need for a supplemental or subsequent EIR for the BRT to address the significant land use changes of the BRT triggered by SB 79. Has that letter been sent? Where can I and the community get a copy? 4, Metro is hosting a public meeting on the BRT. It does not appear that the design has changed to remove dedicated lanes on Olive. What progress has the city made in getting the BRT project changed? 5, as you know, the regional agency SCAG is required to designate the SB 79 qualified stops. What can staff tell you and the community about the status of the requirement? When does staff expect that to be finished? Council, I'm asking you to ask staff to answer my questions. SB 79 will result in major significant changes to the city. Your constituents need to see that protecting the city from SB 79 is a priority given the harm it will do to residential neighborhoods, the burden it will place on our infrastructure, and the likely increased costs to taxpayers. Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, and staff.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Harry Tamurian, followed by Dan Kay. Welcome.
Wait till those are passed out before I talk. You guys should give some props to the Boy Scouts, merit badges, sitting through city council meeting. Good evening. Last month, the California Association of Realtors launched Homeownership Matters, a statewide public education and advocacy campaign focused on making homeownership a central priority in California's 2026 housing agenda. But conversations about housing don't just belong in Sacramento. They belong here in city council chambers because housing policy becomes real at the local level. Right now, for many Californians and many here in Burbank, homeownership feels increasingly out of reach. Prices remain high, inventory is limited, regulations are layered and complex. When families cannot put down roots, neighborhoods lose stability. When the middle class is locked out of ownership, upward mobility narrows. And when working residents are priced out, cities lose generational investments, civic engagement, and continuity. Homeownership is not just a housing issue, it's a community stability issue. To elevate this conversation statewide, California Association of Realtors placed an ad in the official Super Bowl program to remind Californians that homeownership matters. But awareness alone is not enough. Real progress requires collaboration at every level of government, including here in Burbank. And as we advocate for expanding pathways to ownership, it is important to remember who realtors are in this process. Realtors are among the most heavily regulated and compliance-driven professionals in the state. We operate under a strict fiduciary duty, a legal obligation to place our clients' interests above our own. We adhere to federal housing laws, state complex, state statutes, and local ordinances. In fact, your colleague, Chris Rosati, who also serves as a realtor, understands firsthand the depth of compliance our profession requires. He knows that fiduciary responsibility is not a slogan, it is enforceable. Accountability is not an option for us, it is fundamental. Just ask Chris. Remember, council, your decisions matter, home ownership matters. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Dan Kay, followed by Joe Pimienta. Welcome.
Hello, good evening, City Council, City staff, fellow Burbank residents. There's a few things I want to talk about tonight. Number one, Airbnbs. I know the city's interested in looking into short-term housing, perhaps banning it more forcefully throughout the city. I totally agree with that. I think the available residential housing in the city should be used to house our community members. I think we have plenty of hotels, and I know there's also discussions about, as the Olympics are coming in 2028, making some kind of allowance for Airbnbs. I just want to voice my opposition. Once again, we are in an affordable housing crisis, and I think all the available rental housing really needs to be maintained for residents to live here. Number two, before I have a complaint, I want to compliment city staff. I ride my bike to work every day. I commute by bike. I've made a couple 311 requests for overgrown plants that were blocking some bicycling areas, and staff was very responsive. They trimmed them. They took care of that. So thank you. We have awesome staff here in Burbank. But the Burbank Channel bike path has been closed for a few weeks now. I'm not sure why. I'm curious. I know it's a small section, but I notice when there's like a street closure, when something happens to a street, it gets taken care of so quickly because the cars need to go. I hope that we can give the same attention to bike paths and to people who commute and get to where they go by bicycles. And finally, I know that there is a lot of differences in opinion between tenants and landlords, but one thing we have agreed on is we want more affordable housing in this city. And one thing I'm kind of learning a little bit more about is Burbank Housing Corporation, where they offer affordable housing based on income. I would love for City Council to invite them to come up and tell the city, talk to you, let us know kind of what they do and if there's possibilities how they could expand in the city so we can offer more affordable housing, which I think everyone can agree on. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next up is Joe Pimienta and Two Dinosaurs. And you can see there, does everybody see that? And then after that's David Donahue.
The weather's been better, right? Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, staff, and everybody present in the chamber. First and foremost, I do want to express my gratitude for Mayor Takahashi for the proclamation of this evening. It is a very important thing to make aware of. It's very important that we do not forget that part of our history. And as we keep saying that something like that should never happen again, where unfortunately what we're seeing is that things like that continue to happen, but we are trying to prevent that, as you all know. Now, similar to what some other speakers said, I am also in support of more public housing. I think that's a great idea because obviously that is what we need. We do have a housing crisis. But more specifically today, I want to talk about something that comes up a lot whenever we're having this conversation, and that is when we start hearing from everyone coming at it this angle is how hard times are hitting everyone. And that is important to note. However, I do think it's important to put it in a matter of perspective because hard times don't look the same for everybody. Hard times look very different for everyone depending on what they are going through, what their situation is, what their status is, what their conditions are. And that is how it is very crucial to make the distinction when someone says, no, it is very difficult to be affording to live here, but that can mean, well, I have to cut back on a couple of nights out in the town versus no, it's getting very difficult to live here. I have to cut back on my medication, I have to cut back on groceries or other essentials. That is important because, again, as it has happened multiple times, several people have come to this podium imploring for an immediate solution and saying, I can't afford to live here anymore, and if something is not done immediately, I will no longer be living here, only to find out the following meeting that they have been displaced. It is very important to make this, and it's very important to note this as this conversation keeps going. I know that you all are all very receptive to this situation, but I can't say this enough. It is important to note the distinction from where people are coming from when it comes to affordability. With my last bits, just yay for the BRT. I hope it does happen. I do hope that we get a designated lane because, as we all know, it makes streets safer. So once more, thank you for your service. Enjoy your evening. Have a great night.
Thank you for your comment. And next up is David Donahue, and that's my last card for in person. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor Takahashi, council members and staff. My name is David Donahue, and I'm here tonight to talk about something that's been publicized recently in the community against Councilmember Rosati. I have known Chris and have watched him serve and seen him engage residents across the neighborhoods of every background. The accusations that he is motivated by something that might be racial and animus is not only false, it's defamatory. Let me be clear. Being labeled a a racist is one of the most damaging accusations that can be made against a person. It attacks their character, it attacks their integrity, it attempts to permanently stain his reputation. And these accusations are false. Disagreement over policy is not racism. Debate over governments is not xenophobia. And asking difficult questions is not some level of harassment. Throwing those labels at someone without evidence diminishes real instances of discrimination and cheapens serious conversations our society must have, particularly now. And I would ask Chris, because I know this has to be personal, is how this has made him feel. Mr. Rosati, Councilmember Rosati, has attended countless community events and engaged residents directly. He has taken votes he knew would be unpopular with certain groups because he believed that they were in the long-term interest of the community. This is not opportunism, that is conviction. Public service is not about comfort, it is about accountability, fiscal responsibility, and representing the people who elected you, even when the political pressure is intense. And if you believe something is wrong, argue the policy. If someone believes a vote was misguided, challenge the vote. By attacking another council member's character with labels like that is without substantiated proof crosses a line.
Thank you for your comment. And that's the last of our in-person comment. Madam City Clerk, do we still have callers on the line?
Yes, we have 4, Madam Mayor.
Okay, please send them through.
The first caller is Chris.
Welcome, you have 2 minutes.
Good evening, Council. I have very serious concerns about the recent recall effort initiated by Daniel Kleinman against Councilman Rosati. Recalls are very serious tools meant for serious misconduct. They should be grounded in facts, not frustration, speculation, or inflammatory labels. Before we take such a drastic step, we owe it to our community to focus on verifiable facts. I have known Councilmember Rosati for over 40 years, and I know him as a devoted husband and father, the son of immigrants, parents, a successful business owner, and someone who consistently makes time to serve Burbank. Whether you agree with his positions or not, his record reflects a commitment to helping all residents of Burbank thrive. I also want to point out Councilmember Rosati regularly attends, organizes, and supports community events and charitable efforts that benefit all residents of Burbank. The accusations being circulated, terms like racist, xenophobic, misogynistic, are serious charges. Such labels should never be used lightly. If they're going to be used in a public forum, they must be supported by clear, credible evidence. Disagreement over policy does not automatically equate to prejudice. When we blur that line, we lower the standard of civic discourse and erode trust in our institutions. I was particularly troubled to learn that during the meeting in question, Councilmember Rosati approached Mr. Kleinman directly, provided his contact info, and offered to meet one-on-one to discuss concerns, but Mr. Kleinman didn't take up the offer. This is not the action of someone avoiding accountability. It is the action of someone willing to engage. We can and should debate policy. We can challenge decisions. That is democracy. But if we are going to pursue a recall, it must be based on substantiated facts and clear wrongdoing, not character attacks. Burbank deserves thoughtful dialogue, respectful disagreement, and a
Thank
commitment
you.
to truth.
Thank you for your comment. That's 2 minutes. Thank you.
The next caller is Danielle.
Welcome. You have 2 minutes.
Good evening, Council members and Mayor. I was surprised to learn about the petition to recall Councilman Rosati. If you know anything about him, you know that much of the language in this petition is reprehensible and untrue. Christopher Rosati is not the only community member that does not support law enforcement, but respects it, cherishes them for keeping our community safe. It is not racist to support law enforcement. Something also that I find very concerning in the council is that 2 of our council members signed the petition. Are differing viewpoints not allowed in this council, and what kind of energy is that bringing to the council and the members around it? Isn't this why we have these conversations, because of the hard discussions on the topic? On the rent control issue, I have also a concern that Councilman Rosati has had to recuse himself for being a housing provider, but while two of the council members that are tenants do not. It just really seems like a double standard and very unfair. I was at one of his rallies during his campaign, and there was a woman there that was really struggling with being evicted or being priced out of Burbank, and Chris had offered to find her an apartment at something that she could afford. And if that's not helping the community, member, what is? And I'd also like to ask the council members how they feel about what's going on and how this has affected them as a council, and how Chris is, how it's affecting him, because this has to be very, very difficult on him and his family. So thank you for listening. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for your call. Next caller, please.
The next caller is Ken Anderson.
Welcome. You have 2 minutes.
Hello, Ken Anderson, born, raised, and currently living in Burbank. I was shocked to hear about the recall of Christopher Rosati. I've known him for many years. I know he loves the city of Burbank. He's an honest, and he has integrity. I just wanted to give my support and appreciation to Chris Rosati. Thank you for your support.
Thank you for your call. Next caller.
The next caller is Terry Friedman.
Welcome. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, and good evening, Mayor Takahashi, Vice Mayor Mullins, council members, staff, and community members attending and watching tonight. Today, I'm sharing my serious concerns over the consideration for permitting Airbnb-type short-term rentals in private residential housing and zoned areas. Allowing short-term rentals is a great way to harm businesses, workers, homeowners, renters, and communities in one fell swoop. First, driving customers away from hotels in a time when they, like many brick-and-mortar businesses, are still trying to recover from the impacts of the pandemic. It's harmful to the loyal established businesses that operate here and employ a portion of Burbank's workforce. Further, members of the council are well aware of the housing stock and housing stabilization issues that the city is slowly working to fix, and short-term rentals require difficult-to-track enforcement and greater city resources. Beyond this, short-term rentals also convert residential areas designed for building tight-knit communities into a never-ending series of disruptions and unpredictability for the surrounding neighbors, with the experience of living next door to a hotel. People come and go at odd hours. There's an influx of trash. There's more recycling contamination. Tourists who don't have an obligation to being neighborly or respecting spaces. One of my friends lives in Sherman Oaks, shares a property line with a bed and breakfast operator out of their house. And it's the worst part of my time spending at her home. The guests smoke, they take up excessive street parking, and they can be loud and obnoxious. So with that, we should not be looking to create loopholes in our housing ordinance. We should be working to protect what we currently are trying to fix. And with my remaining moment, I will add that not only do the policy decisions of our council members matter, how they work to protect them and voice their support for minorities also matter. Thank you.
Thank you for your call. Do we have any more callers?
That was our last speaker.
That was our last speaker. Okay. There now being no further public comment, I now declare the general public comment period closed. Now is the time for a brief response from City Council, City Manager, or City Attorney. City Manager, City Attorney, do you have a response? Yes.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I have 2 items. The first is there was a discussion about Chandler and why that's closed. So it is closed. During the rains, we ended up having some debris, called a sinkhole, minor sinkhole type of activity right near Verdugo and Providencia. So we have closed that off. PIO has posted that and has announced that as best we can. We do not have, it's a little bit of an engineering issue, so I can't give you an exact date or whatever, but for the safety of the public, we have closed that off. And sometimes these tend to be a little tricky, so, but obviously we will work to repair that as fast as we can. As far as SB 79, 79, so just a couple things. One is we have city staff, and that includes city manager's office, city attorney's office, as well as community development. We have met with Assemblymember Schultz's office, from staff from there, staff from Senator Menjivar's office. We actually, this week, we're meeting with staff from the Senate Housing Committee, working with our state advocacy firm on that. We have 2 letters that we recently sent to Metro requesting analysis and strongly worded to them. And and that's something we probably should have done prior to, and probably do this more often, is we will give you copies of that. Well, we could also give that to Ms. O'Carroll as well, but we do have copies of that we could provide the council as well as the public. And then we are wrapping up the SCAG letter this week. So all that is happening. So I think I got all 5 of her items. So,
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. Mr. City Attorney, do you have anything? No. Council members, who would like to go first? Yes, Councilmember Anthony.
Thank you. Madam Mayor, I know it's a little unorthodox, but I see we do have some scouts in the audience, and they're probably working on their Citizens of the World sign-off, if I'm not mistaken. If it's possible, after all of this, could you take just a couple minutes to explain the agenda and why we do things in order? I'm sure they would appreciate it. And I know we have a pretty short meeting, so if you're up for it.
Very briefly, okay.
All right, thank you. To the recipient of the mayor's proclamation, that story you told, it was heartbreaking. And when you said it happened in 1942 at the end, I was not expecting that year, because it could have been a story told today. We've seen in our history policy that was not very, in hindsight, appreciative of our community. And it's unfortunate. But thank you for being here today to tell that story, so that we may learn from it and that we may do better moving forward. And thank you to the mayor for that being the first time. I'm actually surprised that we brought that back, but I believe you mentioned this, I want to say maybe a year and a half ago, when February 19th, 1942 rolled around. You went back and you looked at the minutes of February, March, April, the months that the internment was happening, and you looked through the minutes of the Burbank City Council, and you couldn't find one mention of it, one speech about it, an agenda item. And so to think that the community was going through that and the elected leadership at the time was not taking action or discussing what action could be taken, I feel that was a missed opportunity, and hope to not have that happen again. I do want to say to the gentleman who was talking about e-bikes and licenses, we have an agenda item on consent number 2. And Mr. Tamurian, I absolutely agree with you. Homeownership is vital. You're probably going to enjoy consent item agenda number 4, 24 subdivision units for sale. So whatever we can do in the city to help with both of those items, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Rosati, would you like to go next, or?
Yeah, let me take a swing at it. Thank you. Madam Mayor, thank you. So thank you for the folks who came out to memorialize the Day of Remembrance for Japanese Americans, and for that story, very, very moving. And depending on how late you're here, I'd like to come out and take a look at the photos in the lobby if they're still up. So thank you. And thank you to all the folks who give so much time. I mean, we're talking decades for the kids' dental clinic. You also do amazing work in our community. Mr. Forsch, thank you I've seen those before, that go on the e-bikes. As you know, we just passed an ordinance. I don't know how much those things cost. It'd be great if we can give those away. They do notify people early on that you're coming up on somebody, so might not be a bad idea. Mr. Nilsson, thank you for applying to the DWP board. We'll be going over that later. And Natalie, thank you for sharing the story about your father and the ballet. My dad's 97. They both are doing amazing. So I appreciate you bringing them. And Mr. Mensing, thank you regarding the charge point. I've been reading about it as well. I have concerns as you do. And then we'll talk about some of the rest of the mess on our callers. So I just wanted to just simply say that, Mr. Kleiman, you're entitled to your opinion, and I welcome your opinion, but you are not entitled to your own facts. And I thank the callers that called up. I know that there was some disparaging remarks about me and racism. And, you know, my brother called me. Such a good guy. Such a good guy. And he said to me, does that guy know you? Does he know that you come from a mixed race family? Does he know that our mom and dad fostered a black child from South Central for several years and tried to adopt him? Does he know that our parents are immigrants? Does he know that my in-laws are immigrants and that your nieces are half Hispanic? Does he know that your best friend that you have coffee with every Saturday morning in the same location is black? And that my roommate in college for 4 years is black? And I told my brother, you know, he doesn't know, because he doesn't know anything about me. He's never met me. And when I offered to meet with him, he never called me back. With regards to compliance, several people mentioned me being not compliant with the rent control. And so I'm glad that our staff is here, Mr. McDougall and our city manager. Every single time they've asked me to recuse myself, I have. I have not gone outside of their guidance. What you don't know is when I leave this building, I can say whatever I want as a resident of this community. And Mr. Kleiman, you don't have those facts. And if we have a public hearing on rent control, I can walk through that door, recuse myself, walk through that door, pull a card, give it to the clerk, and come up as a resident and say what I want about rent control. Your facts are completely wrong. Several callers actually called about my commitment to the community. I'm not one to spike the football, but when you come after my family and you come after what I've done in this community for the last 30 years, I'm going to spike the football. It started when I was 7 years old, watching Jerry Lewis telethon. I grabbed a pickle jar, went out to Lehman Reed's Lumber City, and I raised nearly $1,000 for the telethon. And I haven't stopped since. Over 30 years, I've served over 30 organizations and raised, with help, over $100 million for this community. And recently, $30,000 for BCR because of you. Because I believed in you. and what you wanted. And I knew I could do it. And believe it or not, out of everything we've done here on this council, that is the most proudest thing, is to be able to work with you on that commitment. Someone mentioned about me helping somebody with finding an apartment. Yeah, that's true. I did that. 2 years ago, I walked into FSA and met with Lori Blake. I had an apartment that was vacant. Please fact check me all you want. I had an apartment that was vacant, and I walked in and I said, hey, Lori, I want to give FSA this apartment at a below market rate at 5 or 10 years, whatever the lease is, fixed. Fixed rate. As an investor, that is the stupidest thing you can do. As a resident of this community that I love so much, that was the personal sacrifice I was willing to make, because I think that they do God's work, and I wanted to be a part of it. So, Mr. Kleiman, your facts are 100% off. And I'm asking you tonight to take down that petition, because it is fraudulent, it lacks merit, and lacks facts. Thank you. Madam Mayor, I yield.
All right, Vice Mayor, would you like to go?
Thank you. First, I want to start congratulating. Thank you for bringing that proclamation firsthand here to our city, first time. And thank you for being here tonight and sharing your wonderful story. Really appreciate it. To the dental clinic folks, awesome work. Dale and her group and her board and all the doctors just do an amazing job, and it's really heart-touching when you see it being done to the children, helping them and the stories they shared. It's really heartfelt that they do this commitment without looking for rewards or charge or anything. So I do appreciate Dale and her team for everything they do for our children. In regards to the speakers applying for boards and commissions, we'll deal with that shortly. And Mr. Forsch, I saw you talking to the chiefs. I hope the two of you were able to talk about your suggestion. I wish you were here a week ago, or was it 2 weeks ago, when we were talking about e-bikes. That would have been great in the discussion. So briefly, great idea. We'll see what we can do. Hopefully, the chief and you, would you like to come up? Of course. The chief wants to say something.
It's an agendized matter.
Do you want to wait for consent?
Perhaps you can ask them for comments.
Great, thank you. Thank you, chief. Sorry, made you get up, but we'll get you back here soon. Mr. Nielsen, again, Burbank Water and Power, we're going to talk about that. So the entire group that came and talked about grants, the arts grants, it sound like there's so many different great projects that's taken place, from the dance studios, the ballet, all the orchestra, everything that they have been successfully securing the funds for to do their projects. It's really wonderful to see that happen. That include also Miss Cynthia Peace talking about the grants. Okay, Mr. Eric, thank you. Always a pleasure seeing you. Thank you so much. And Susan, of course, you keep us on track, so I do appreciate that. If you're still in the, yes, you are still in the audience, as you heard the city manager. But I do appreciate you coming and reminding us. Thank you for always reminding us what we have done and what we need to continue doing. Harry Tumurian, thank you for being here as well. I love the fact that we're talking about ownership. This is what we need for our future generation, and I really love the fact that the Burbank Realtors or the realtors as a whole is involved in this, because we do need to give hope to our future generations that one day they're going to own their own property. And as Council Member Anthony said, we have 24 units here on the agenda. So this is wonderful to see people owning their own homes. With the callers, I know Daniel, you spoke, Daniel, and a couple of other folks. Terry spoke about the agenda item that we're going to talk about later on, Airbnb. Stick around, you'll see what we're all going to discuss about it. Again, it's on the agenda, so we'll talk about it later. And everyone else, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. And we're moving on. Thank you.
Thank you. As always, thank you everyone for coming out tonight and taking some time out of your busy schedules to be here and share what's important to you, share what's going on in the community and your concerns. Thank you to all who have met with us during the week since our last council meeting, those who called in, sent emails. Let's see. So for the folks who spoke about the boards and commissions tonight, we will get to that a little bit later. It's a short meeting, so if you can stick around, and so we'll get to that item in a minute. For Mr. Forsch, again, about the noise makers on the bikes. I own an e-bike, and I would love one of those doodads for my e-bike. I've been meaning to get a little bell, but I haven't had a chance to, but I like the idea better of a little noise maker. And I'm willing to be a volunteer to pass those out to other e-bikers, so I'm willing to do that. And Mr. Scroggs, I just wanted to point out that you joke about Halloween Town, but we are Halloween Town. Yeah, so I if there was a community member or group of community members who wanted to build a Halloween Town here in Burbank, I would be supportive of that. I would be encouraging that. I think it'd be cool. To all the folks who came out about the arts program, the community arts grant program, 51 projects funded. That's amazing. Thank you to everyone who applies, everybody who comes to speak about your events. I attend as many as I can, and I always love them so much. And I love to see the enthusiasm during the Community Arts Commission meeting and everyone sharing. And I'm thank you for taking it to heart to come here and share it with the broader community, what's going on. There's also an arts calendar where all these events are listed. So if you, folks who are watching didn't catch the details, you can go to our arts calendar and get all the details. And then some of the other things were addressed already. I want to also echo sentiments to Mr. Tamurian about the Home Ownership Matters program. This is excellent. Expanding pathways to home ownership. Thank you. We need that. And to Dan K about 311 requests that you sent in. Thank you for using the app. And I just filmed my first mayor's show, and it's all about the 311 app. So tune in a few days, and it's pretty cool. It's fun. And glad to hear that it's working well for you. Just keep using it and spread the word. And I'm so glad that you brought up BHC. Please continue to look into this organization. It needs as much support as we can, and let's collaborate on how we can support that organization for sure. And so that's it generally. Thank you all for coming. And then Councilmember Anthony asked me to very, very briefly share with our scouts about the agenda. Okay, so you all have your copy of the agenda, right? So there's kind of three main sections of our agenda tonight. And the first two you saw already. First one is about the proclamations and kind of the recognizing community efforts. So if you do a big project or you get a big awards, we sometimes will bring up folks from the community to congratulate you for all the hard work you're doing in the community. And then the next big part is the public comment, which you saw, where you all, if you wanted to, could come up, use a card, and talk about what's important to you. There's no age limit, so anybody at any age can speak about what you want to talk about. So if you come back another time, feel free to come speak about what's important to you in the city. And then the next section are all the items of business that we do. And you'll see in a minute, we're talking about the different things that are going on in the city, and we make decisions about how we fund things, different laws, how we use land, and discussion about the issues that come up in the city. So I hope you're enjoying the meeting tonight, and thank you for being here.
Madam Mayor, could I ask two quick follow-up questions? One, the third part that you said, all those things on the agenda that are business of the city, we all have to vote on that.
Yes,
correct?
we all have to vote.
The five of us, or typically five, but four of us vote on those things. So why is it that we do the public comment before we take the vote? And I think the kids would like to
okay.
find that out.
Yeah, if you haven't figured it out already, part of important for us to hear from the community about what's important to you before we vote. So we get emails, we get phone calls, we meet with people, and then folks come to the lectern to give us their points of view on the items that are going to be on the agenda. So it helps us make better decisions when we hear from you what your opinions are.
Madam
Good
Mayor?
question.
Thank you.
If I could clarify.
Mhm.
So also, the public is supposed to get notice of what's on the agenda.
Yes.
So Councilmember Constantine Anthony actually just requested an item that's not on the agenda, but I think in the spirit of the Brown Act, I'll just contribute by saying this should have been posted on the agenda so that
Yes.
the public knew it was going to happen.
Yes, you're right. Mea culpa. So thank you for being here, everyone. And that's for folks maybe who didn't know too. So it's a kind of an educational opportunity for everybody. Okay. So next up, we are on the consent calendar. We had a short meeting, so it was okay. I was willing to go there. We have the consent calendar next, which may be enacted in one motion. Madam City Clerk, please read the consent calendar.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have 7 items tonight on the consent calendar. Item 1 is approval of the City Council minutes of the regular meeting of February 10th, 2026, and the dark meeting of February 17th, 2026. Item 2 is adoption of an ordinance amending Article 28, Chapter 1, Title 6 of the Burbank Municipal Code regarding electric mobility devices. Item 3 is adoption of a resolution amending and restating the compensation plan for unrepresented mid-management employees. Item 4 is adoption of a resolution approving final tract map number 84031 and related subdivision improvement agreement for project at 529 through 537 East Palm Avenue. Item 5 is adoption of a resolution approving contract documents, plans, and specifications, authorizing execution of a construction contract for bid schedule number 1536, Phase 3A Side Slope Liner Expansion Project with Sukkot Construction, LLC, and finding of CEQA exemption and approval of the First Amendment to the Professional Services Agreement with Civil and Environmental Consultants, Incorporated. Item 6 is approval and authorization of the Community Development Director to execute a Fourth Amendment to the On-Call Professional Services Agreement with Moore, Iacofano, Goldsman to extend the term from March 16th, 2026 to March 16th, 2027. And item 7 is acceptance of a donation to the City of Burbank Animal Shelter in the amount of $5,000 from the Carrie and Dick Clark Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to move the consent calendar, but however, I do need a quick update from the chief on item number 2.
The e-bikes.
Is there a second?
Second, sorry.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, Staff, your Police Chief, Rafael Quintero. The clarifying, so the concern of the gentleman was associated with he would like an audible device on all e-bike or e-mobility that traverse through those areas that are not the downtown district or the corridor. In looking through the section F, in looking through the section F, it states any person operating a bicycle or device on the sidewalk outside of the downtown shall yield the right-of-way to any pedestrian, and when overtaking and passing a pedestrian, shall give an audible signal and shall pass to the left of the pedestrian only under conditions permitting such movement and safety. So that requirement already exists. And further trying to clarify and communicate that to the gentleman who was present during public comment, he would like a device that is continuously going off an audible when someone is riding any type of e-mobility device. And he described it as similar to an ice cream truck.
I see.
So this doesn't just, they don't have control over making it giving that sound and stopping it, this will constantly be on as they're riding their e-bikes?
No, that's what the gentleman is requesting.
Okay.
What is incorporated within the section, it says when you come up or you are approaching a pedestrian on the defined access path, you must audibly make yourself aware or known when passing pedestrians.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to clarify, when someone's riding on the sidewalk or the street, that the reckless riding of a bicycle that might injure somebody or knock somebody, that's not allowed. So that's already not allowed too. So it's not just about the making a noise to say, hey, I'm here, but to be safe when going around people as well.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. All right, we have a first and a second. Could we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Anthony,
Yes to all the items.
Councilmember Rosati,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mullins,
Yes.
and Mayor Takahashi.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we have 2 reports to council this evening. After staff's presentation, the city council will proceed with in-person public comment only. Speakers will be allowed to speak on the item at the conclusion of the presentation, as long as the speaker has not spoken on the item during the first period of public comment. Please be sure to submit your public comment card now, as no additional public comment cards will be accepted once the comment period commences following staff presentations. The first report to council tonight is the appointment to fill 1 vacancy on the Art and Public Places Committee for an unexpired term. I welcome Madam City Clerk, Kimberly Clark, to please present the report.
Thank you again. Thank you again, Madam Mayor, Kimberly Clark, City Clerk. Tonight, I will be presenting reports to council. Item number 1. On January 6, 2026, the City Clerk's office began advertising and accepting applications for 1 vacancy on the Art and Public Places Committee for an unexpired term ending July 31st, 2026. This vacancy was created by the resignation of committee member Patricia Hollis. To obtain qualified candidates, a notice of vacancy was advertised through the following channels: the city's website, city council meeting announcements, all social media platforms managed by the city clerk's office, press releases sent to the Burbank Leader and myburbank.com, notices posted on the City Hall bulletin board, community groups and organizations, and through constant contact email notifications. The deadline for submitting applications to the city clerk's office was Thursday, February 5th, 2026 at 5:00 p.m. The city clerk's office received a total of 7 applications: Pamela Pyle, Mercedes Molina, Tanya Papazian, Marjani El Janadi, Lernick Minas, Jean Marinelli, and Zara Gomez. The applications are listed in the order received. Please note that applicant Lernick Minas has also applied for the Burbank Water and Power Board. If appointed to the Art and Public Places Committee, this applicant's name will be removed from consideration for the Burbank Water and Power Board appointment, which will be presented in the next report. At this time, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. We will do public comment first and then move on to the vote. I have 1 public comment card, and that's Jean Marinelli. And Jean, you have up to 3 minutes since you're the only speaker. So welcome.
Hi, I'm Jean Marinelli, and I probably don't need 3 minutes, but let me introduce myself. I've lived nearly 30 years as a homeowner here in Burbank. I have participated in many, many of the arts programs. I worked as a professional French horn player for nearly 30 years. I've played in the Burbank Philharmonic. I've not played in the Burbank Band. I played in the LAPD Band. I'm a member of the Burbank Arts Association. I'm a member of the Burbank Rose Parade Float Association. I am a part-time teacher in the Burbank schools. But tonight, I come here as a longtime fan of the work of the Art and Public Places Committee in Burbank. I've never really been available until now to volunteer for something like this, but here I am. But over the last 30 years, I've been stopped in my tracks many times when I have encountered a new piece that I've never seen before. And sometimes I'm stopped again by the same piece. I love the idea that we are using art to enhance places that are normally used for commerce or money making. And I just think art is so important to provide joy, emotion, provoke thought, and bring people together that might be admiring at the same time. And I would love to help in some way on this committee. I've always wanted to, and anyway, that is, and I'm available, finally. So thank you, Stephanie, from the Cultural Arts Commission for my endorsement, and I know Stephanie through Burbank Art Association, and I also know Carrie Noren, who spoke earlier as president of the Burbank Philharmonic, and he's hitting me up. He wants me to be on that board too, but I'm available for this. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. We now have completed public comment for this report. All right, so if we have no further discussion or questions, we'll move on to the vote.
I will read each name, and if you could give me a show of hands. Pamela Pyle, Mercedes Molina, Tanya Papazian, Marjani El-Janadi, Lernick Minas, Jean Marinelli. Jean Marinelli is appointed. Congratulations.
Congratulations. That was easy. Showing up goes a long way. But I have to say, for both of these commissions, and we are so blessed here in Burbank, we have so many qualified folks. So it's always a hard decision, and we are very blessed. So for those who are watching, if you were not selected, please continue to apply for future boards.
I would also like to add to apply, but also a couple of very important things, if you can hear me out there, is when you apply, please contact the council and talk to us and ask to either meet or have a conversation so we know who you are. Also, it really goes a long way if you come to the meeting and introduce yourself. If we haven't met with you in person, at least we get to see that you're here and who you are. It does help us, and it helps you as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The more we know about you, the better. Yeah. Okay, next up is the second report to council tonight is appointment to fill one vacancy on the Burbank Water and Power Board for unexpired term. Madam City Clerk, please present the report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Now I will be presenting reports to council item number 2. On January 12th, 2026, the City Clerk's office began advertising and accepting applications for one vacancy on the board for an unexpired term ending July 31st, 2028. This vacancy was created by the resignation of board member Christopher Malote. To obtain qualified candidates, a notice of vacancy was advertised through the same channels I just said a few minutes ago. The deadline for submitting applications to the City Clerk's office was Wednesday, February 11th, 2026 at 5:00 p.m. The City Clerk's office received a total of 7 applications. Thomas Uper, Robert Gavandian, Robert Nielsen, Lernick Minas, Michael Goldstein, Leila Kashani, and Christina Kopelman. The applications are listed in the order received. Please note that that doesn't apply now. At this time, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, thank you. We do have one public comment, so we'll hear that first. Leila Kashani, you have up to 3 minutes. Thank you.
I got my timer. Okay, Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, and staff, thank you for the time to speak. My name's Leila Kashani, and I'm seeking this appointment. I have an MBA in finance and accounting from Georgetown University. I have a degree in political science and minors in French literature and mathematics from UC San Diego. I also have a business here in Burbank, a tax firm. It's called CBIS Data Tax. It's right on Hollywood Way, and we are in the midst of it. So I came here in the middle of that with clients in the office. It's my first board position application, but I know it's an important one, but I also know I'm a good fit. And I've reviewed the council mandates for this board. I've viewed some of the archive videos and the way they discuss and the minutes, and I'm confident that I can contribute effectively to this board. Since 2007, I've worked as a consultant in many energy sectors, oil and gas, utility, pipelines, terminals, including clean energy, such as wind, solar, ethanol, biodiesel, also nuclear. Not that we would bring that here, but these are heavily regulated industries with very long project lifespans, licenses, permits, environmental and safety regulations that are very complex. From the city to state to federal levels, they are high dollar, high hazard, high risk activities, just like what Burbank Water and Power manages every single day for this city. I'm comfortable to be on the board because in these fields, I have analyzed budgets, maintenance programs, daily operations. I've even reviewed community impact programs. If you recall, I sent out an email. I mentioned that energy suppliers should never be seen, heard, or smelled. And I have that experience as well, unfortunately. I have worked disaster recovery. So I know what it entails for a community to be ready. I've worked explosions on sea, the BP disaster. I've worked fires on land, and we can name a few refineries. I've seen spills in remote and public areas, and I believe that these experiences bring me a view that how should a community be ready to respond. I've also seen power losses due to earthquakes in South America, so I think I can bring some perspective to this board. Before consulting, I was a GM of a division at GE. I actually got to work under Jack Welch, if that means something to some of the older folks here like myself. I handled a $500 million division providing supply chain services around the world. So I'm used to looking at big numbers. I'm used to advising big leaders. And on serious matters, I definitely know.
Thank you for your comments,
Oh.
sorry. Yeah, it's been 3 minutes,
Thank you.
sorry.
No, thank you.
I want to hear the rest, but it's been 3 minutes. Thank you so much for your comment. All right, if there's no comments or questions, we'll move on to the vote.
I will read the names and see a show of hands vote, please. Thomas Uper, Robert Gavandian, Robert Nielsen, Lernick Minas, Michael Goldstein, Leila Kashani. Leila Kashani is appointed. Congratulations.
I was going to vote for someone else, but I'll just make it unanimous. It's fine.
You know, you do it differently than I used to do it at my other agency. We used to call all the names just for that reason, but I'll get used to it eventually.
No worries. No worries. I wanted to support Christina, but it's fine. I'll make it unanimous, please.
Yes. And again, we only have one spot, and anyone who has applied, you all would be really fabulous in the position. So please apply again when another position comes across. We would love to see you apply and have you come back. Okay? Thank you. Yeah. All right, congratulations. We are on to the next item. We will now hear council comments, including reporting on council committee assignments, attendance at conferences, regional meetings, and community events. Who would like to go first? Councilmember Rosati.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On Wednesday, February 11th, I attended the Burbank Police Department Coffee with a Cop. Very well attended. Really a lot of people, first time to come to an event like that. And it was kind of like in the middle of the morning, so I was surprised, but it was well attended. I did go to the groundbreaking of the future home of the Boys and Girls Club. Very exciting. A lot of folks are excited. Holla. Did it? Sorry. The former Boys and Girls Club, correct. And really exciting to see that project move forward. And then we went on a tour of the ranch lot, and just so beautiful. I mean, the the space that they provide for the cast and employees and everything, it's really well thought out. I really enjoyed the landscaping and the trees. Some of those oak trees are just stunning. And I know how expensive they are, so it was a very well thought out project. And then I was at the Park and Rec Board at 6 p.m. And then Wednesday, I attended the Burbank Police Department hosted the 2025 Annual Military Equipment Meeting and Report. And later that night, we had the Police Commission meeting. And on Thursday, February 19th, I went to the Burbank Police Foundation, had a dinner for the officers. And thank you for the folks that provided that dinner. On Saturday, February 21st, I think it was Paquito Mas. And then on February 21st, on Saturday, I attended the Adaptive Sports Expo. And boy, every year it just gets bigger and better. And I said this last week, last meeting, it's so prideful to be a member of this community, to be a leader in what's going on in that community of adaptive sports. And I just want to give special thanks to our staff, and Marissa, if she's still here, she's not, and the folks on the commission that really put a lot of thought into this program. And it's only getting bigger and better, and it's making a lot of folks really happy. Afterwards, we went over to the playground. I took my son, and everyone was able to participate in wheelchairs and whatnot. So when you see that, it kind of just warms your heart. And then on Monday, February 23rd, I was last night at the planning board meeting. It was an interesting meeting. Maybe we'll get 17 voters, maybe, Ms. Clark? Maybe? We'll get 17 voters, some folks that were excluded from the voter rolls. And we're actually going to see it here on council, so I won't say much more about it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I would just like to thank the Planning Commission and our staff. They did a great job, and thank you for being there, council member.
Ma'am, thank you.
Councilmember Anthony?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm sorry I missed the groundbreaking. I had some former coworkers at Universal Studios ask me to help them out with an issue they were having over there that morning. But I did make it to the ranch lot tour later that day. We all split up and took some different guided tours. This is the old Warner Ranch. They've revamped it, and it is like the top line, state-of-the-art film production studios. If you have a TV show or a movie that you want to shoot, that is the place to do it. And I agree, that Burbank Adaptive Sports Expo was absolutely fantastic. Great turnout from the community. I did get one critique. An individual said that they did great outreach to get people to the expo, yet when they were there, there wasn't much outreach to the individuals present who attended. They felt it was almost as if you had to already know what was going on when you showed up. So I'm going to talk to the individual and see if there's something we can do for the next time. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
They did have a welcome tent.
They did, yes.
No, I mean, it was...
Yes,
It was at the very beginning, at the cul-de-sac.
Yeah. I'm going to talk to the individual because I feel like they may have missed something.
Yeah,
because we
because-
did some great outreach.
They didn't know who I was, not that I am somebody, but they immediately came over to me and said, there's all this stuff, here's a list, and here's a button, here's this, so.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm going to do
They
some
were
outreach
overwhelmed
and
with
digging
how
on
much
what
stuff
happened.
there was.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, great. Vice Mayor?
Where do I? Yes, started on Thursday the 12th, groundbreaking of Hala. Wonderful event. Congratulations. Can't wait till we do the ribbon cutting and we start using that facility. Did the tour, like Councilmember Rizzotti and Anthony mentioned. And the only thing I could say, yes, they are open for business, and yes, they want you to come and use the studios, the offices, everything we saw there was just, I can't describe it. It's the best place you want to be working or shooting a movie. Or the cafeteria, just every floor had something very unique that represent the high quality of Warner and the project itself. So we had a great time just wandering around the whole entire lot. The same night, it was kind of a busy Thursday, I attended the Armenian Western Diocese welcome event between their Japanese sister city and the diocese. Had lots of entertainment from both sides, Japanese and Armenian, lots of great food that I enjoyed. So that was a good event. On the 18th, I attended the annual military equipment report here in the chamber, followed by the police commission. They did have 2 or 3 speakers with questions regarding the use of military equipment. Staff did an excellent job explaining when they're used and why. It's always confusing when you hear the word military because it makes it sound like we're fighting a war here. We're not. That's the name for it. So staff did a great job really presenting it, and the commissioners also had good questions. So the meeting went well. And along with that, on the police commission meeting, to give a quick update, they dived into discussion about what council expectations are for them and how to agendize or ask for future agenda items. So they're going to be bringing it more at future meetings to talk some more about council's expectation, their role, identifying what their mission is. So that's, if you want to watch it in the future, that's something they're going to be talking about. Then on Thursday the 19th, I met with, maybe it might have been Wednesday, it's on the wrong date, with Lynn Lebensky from Zonta to talk about the 90th anniversary and kind of provide some guidance, locations, and things that Zonta can do for their first gala. It's their second, but they haven't had one in so many years. Then today at noon, the mayor and I went to Burbank High School, talked to the students to the Model Congress Club. They had some tough questions for each one of us, and great kids, the future of our community. They were really wonderful. They're trying to introduce government to the classroom and have the kids feel comfortable that we are human. We do have favorite movies. We do have some things that we struggle with, whether being on council. I know, can you imagine? It's called juggling your schedule when you have 4 events at one time. What do you do about it? So it was a fun hour with the students. So that was a good time for me. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. All right. I too on February 12th, went to the groundbreaking at the Home LA Access Center. And, in addition to all the services they're going to have and the wonderful facility, this is going to be our first tiny homes in Burbank, which is so exciting. And these are specifically for families. And it's a safe place for them to temporarily live while they're looking for permanent housing. I'm so happy we'll be able to do this. It's great. And then I also went on the ranch lot tour. Everything you say, I echo everything everyone said about it. It's a full service facility, and I think that's a unique thing about the studios too, is that anything that a filming project would need is there. Space for the staff, for the non-filming staff to work close by, every support needed. And then we also got to walk up in the rafters, which was pretty cool because I didn't know that you could actually walk up there, so that was pretty fun. And on the 17th, I attended the National League of Cities, remotely attended the National League of Cities Human Development Federal Advocacy Committee meeting. And again, we're still talking about federal level advocacy for quality immigration policy, and among other things, childcare, Parks and Rec, libraries, etc. That same day, later in the afternoon, I went to 2 ribbon cuttings back to back on Magnolia, cute little shops, Hive and Hanger, and Joy and Honey. Please go there, they are adorable. And they're both really nerdy about their products, so you can learn all about bees and all about skincare, and it's gonna be amazing. And then on the 19th, I attended with some city staff the Chamber of Commerce monthly board meeting to give updates about the city. Saturday, the 21st, in the morning, bright and early at 8:45, I attended the Parks and Rec Youth Leadership Program and spoke about the mayor's role and answered questions for the kids, same age as what we met with today. And then also attended later in the morning the Adaptive Sports Expo, reflecting what Councilmember Rosati said about how it's bigger this year than each year. It gets bigger and more attendance, and there was a performance there by wheelchair dancers, which was really fun. The roulettes is what they're called. Rolettes, yeah. So awesome, so fun. And I got to meet an Olympian. There was a wheelchair Olympian. She does wheelchair downhill skiing and wheelchair racing. So pretty cool, yeah. And then, let's see, on Sunday, I went to Burbank Music Center's 1-year anniversary gala concert, and they're just down the road here, and their kids are amazing and adorable, and they're doing a fabulous job. So if anyone in the community wants to learn music and you're under 18, head over to that facility. They are just the cutest thing. Violins, piano, singing, all sorts of things. And then today, earlier, we went to the Model Congress at Burbank High School and got to visit with the kids. It's super fun. Okay. Now is the time for the consideration of previously introduced agenda items. As a reminder, this is council's process for adding additional agenda items. One item for consideration tonight is my request during the last meeting on February 10th, 2026. So council members are allotted 2 minutes to provide a brief explanation of the request, along with how the request ties to city council goals. After that, city council will vote on whether or not the item should be added as an additional agenda item for consideration at a future meeting. If needed, council may provide clarification or additional information to staff regarding the agenda item request. Okay? So the item is my request to consider the inclusion of options beyond a full prohibition of short-term rentals, including the possibility of a limited number of city-authorized short-term rentals when staff returns with the report prior to council direction. And the reason why I ask this is the last time we talked about short-term rentals was September 24th, 2024 at a council meeting. And council gave direction to staff to bring back an ordinance on a full ban on short-term rentals. The council was clear during that meeting. We all agreed that there were too many Airbnbs and too much Airbnb disruption in the communities, and we voted yes on this item. So over this time, since that happened, I've asked staff on the dais a couple times when we'll be getting this item back, as this was one of my items. And I realize it's currently on the list of things to come back to us at some point, as many of our housing items are. So I've been doing research during this time and looking at how other cities are navigating this issue. And it's looking like attempting to implement a full ban could be an approach that might make it difficult or impossible to enforce. And so, and many cities across the state and country are implementing more strategic regulations and working with companies that specifically do this work of enforcement according to the regulations. So while I'm still holding my direction and my vote for the full ban that we had on the 24th, 24, I would like to ask that staff bring back a second option using other cities as examples of a limited allowance of short-term rentals and regulations for those limited short-term rentals so that we can consider our options for how to create an ordinance we can enforce. Also, when staff brings back this item, that we provide the staff provides a pro-con of the two approaches, including cost, potential successive enforcement, and how it would impact our ability to respond to reports of disruption. And so for me, it's just really important that this comes back, and it's been a long time, and I feel like this will help staff be able to bring back a report in a timely manner so we can actually address this issue. It's been far too long that we've been sitting on it. So that's why I decided to bring this forth this way, if that makes sense. Yes.
So I guess it's our time to discuss whether to bring it back or not.
Yeah.
So back in 2024, where we had a lot of discussions in regards to Airbnb, and I remember the conversation about addressing also the housing needs, addressing taking those units off the market, which would put a greater impact on our housing stock and also greater impact on the issues that we have been dealing with since 2024 and prior, regarding our tenants and finding affordable housing in the city. And this would actually put an additional hardship on finding availability in the city of Burbank. In the discussion back then, I also recall, because we had so many ADUs are being built in the city, and since then, I'm sure we've had a lot more added to the list of what we had back in 2024 and the impact on parking. People, the community were complaining that they're running out of parking spaces. And so I appreciate you kind of putting a little fire, bring something back, but to bring it back, not to discuss what we want to see, maybe perhaps we can allow temporary or allow it to happen in the city, because in my opinion, even if we allow, I'm going to use a number, 150, whatever, 50 or 100 housing to get permits for Airbnb, there's still going to be a lot more addition who will be violating our permits, who are not going to take a permit. So we're now adding the 100 to an additional 100 that is already in existence that we don't know about. And it's hard to enforce. You're absolutely right, because unless we get somebody who calls us, this is what happens. We all get emails, and then we pass it on to staff. Then they go out and they enforce it, like noise ordinance or parking issues or anything that's relating to that. I am in support of bringing something back, or having staff bringing something back, to put the complete ban on Airbnb, but not to say, well, allow a certain numbers to be allowed in the city. If we are, and I know I'm throwing everything out there too. If we're concerned because we're going to be having the Olympics coming in 2028, that's going to put an impact where people are going to stay in the city of Burbank. I know we have a ton of hotels, and we get TOT from hotels, so it's very profitable for us and the hotels as well. So I'm not in favor of allowing a certain number of people to do it, because that's going to add more to our stock that we don't want in the city.
So tonight we're not debating, at least what I'm asking for is not to debate between the two, but to allow staff to provide that information to us, so that when it comes back to us, we have that information to compare it to. Because right now, with the ask that we've given staff for a full ban, the full ban is, and a lot of other cities are having difficulties with this. It's very, very difficult to implement and enforce.
So are you asking just for information
included? Yeah.
So when the full ban comes back, you want other options of what other cities are doing instead of a full ban,
yes,
to get compliance.
Exactly. Because right now what I have been receiving the information is we have over 900 Airbnbs. It's just getting worse. And so we need a way to at least enforce better what we've got now. And if we're waiting for the kind of a way to get the full ban until we get the report back, we'll be waiting and waiting and waiting. But if we get the full ban back, we're going to still get that. And then also, in addition, in examples of what other cities have done in their a different kind of strategic way to approach it, then we can see kind of how it works. And we still can do the full ban when it comes back, but I want to have that comparison so that we are able to move forward with it. If that makes sense. Yeah, Councilmember Rosati.
Boyd.
Okay, so I'm a little bit confused. So my position is we're finally seeing inventory and prices come down, and I don't want to do anything that's going to make the housing market a commodity for investors. The other thing is our hotels are our partners, and they're continuing to come to Burbank and continuing to build and continuing to expand. And I don't want to send a message to the hotels that you're not our partner. And I don't want our neighborhoods to become commerce and operating a business. So I heard you say you wanted to have a limited number.
No, I don't want to have a limited number. Actually, I still support the full ban, but I'd like to have the option presented to us so that it opens up for us to understand how enforcement works. Because right now, without having any kind of regulation around Airbnbs is very, very difficult for us to enforce. And a full ban also doesn't have regulations. And so it's difficult for cities to enforce full bans. It may not be impossible, but it's very difficult to do. So we could bring it back an ordinance to do full ban, but other cities who have done that basically are in the same situation we're in now, which is it's hard to enforce.
I can tell you that the desert communities have some of the strictest bans in California, and you get nailed with a $2,500.
You talking about Palm Springs?
No, Palm Springs is actually the most liberal because you can actually Airbnb in Palm Springs, I think, 100 days out of the year. But other cities like Rancho Mirage and La Quinta, the first sighting is $2,500.
Yeah.
And you don't do it again. So I'm in favor of a full ban only and nothing outside of that.
Okay, so if that's the case, that's fine, but we really need to get this brought back. So staff, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I am also having staff, agreeing to having staff bring a full ban. That the item that's on the agenda, basically, that was requested back in 2024. And then I want to hear from staff what their plan is to enforce or implement, looking at other cities like the desert, like other cities who do have enforcement units who can do it. So at that time, we can decide whether we do a full ban with a penalty or not, or leave it as it is right now, where we only receive calls and then pass it on to staff.
Yeah, those are the only two options I'd be in favor of.
Yeah, otherwise I don't want
Strict
to allow
enforcement or passive enforcement.
Exactly. I don't want to allow a small amount of permits. I want to allow it either a full ban or leave it as what we're doing right now, case by case. We go out and address it when we get the call.
So question to staff, if we continue with the full ban approach compared to bringing it back with a second option compared it to, will that be any difference in when staff will bring back the item?
Well, it depends on what that second option is. If you're going to ask us to, I mean, we would ultimately, right now the direction is to come back with the ban and figure out how best to enforce that. Yeah. And I think it sounds like some of you would like additional information on the enforcement and what we could do to enforce if we do that ban. But then there's kind of the second phase of should we have the option of still doing something else, and how that could potentially work to maybe better regulate or have as an alternative to the ban that may help us regulate. That could take longer, because what we would probably do is take our existing staff report, which we provided those two options, and look at updating it and enhancing that. So,
is it all right if we just do that second part after we get the first report? Would you be comfortable with that? Seeing what enforcement we have available to us, and then if we need to bring something else back, we can do that.
I'm comfortable with that too, as long as it gets the wheels in motion. I don't want it to drag on too long. So if the staff does prepare the staff report for a full ban, we discuss it thoroughly, and we come to the conclusion that if that happens, that, what I've been looking at is that it's going to be tough, but you know what? Okay, we do. And then staff goes back to make a second report. It's going to elongate the process. But if that's what the process is that council wants to go through, I'm totally fine with that. Just at some way, just get this ball rolling. Be great.
And I think, if I may, I think the public really needs to hear the challenges that we have to do a full ban. I think that we also need to remind there's been change in our housing dynamic. There's been change, in the housing stock, and I think it's a healthy discussion to bring it back in 2026 and talk about challenges and also talk about what our current numbers are. So I'm in, whenever staff brings it back for a full ban, fresh the staff report, remind everybody, and then we can have that discussion when it comes back.
And we can certainly remind, in the first report, we do talk about the challenges of just a flat-out ban. There are challenges to that. It's not, identifying them is kind of the key. But we're going to try to figure that out and how best to enforce that. I will tell you, we're looking towards the end of the year to do this. It hasn't been one of those where we've been getting inundated with calls, but again, we're working on rent issues, SB 79, specific plans, facilitating major development projects. So this one, as far as priority, we still want to get it done soon. But as far as priority, I'd rather get a specific plan, SB 79, come back with major development projects. This one just hasn't been as hefty for us to have to implement quicker. So we're trying to be deliberate and figure out the best way to enforce if we go full out ban.
Right. And I appreciate you saying that to priorities. The timing is also important too, in my opinion, because you mentioned the Olympics, that as we get closer to the Olympics, there'll be more and more pressure. Folks will be interested in Airbnb out their units. And if we don't have a good mechanism to enforce, and we just have what we have now, then it will be, it'll just be more units that are being used. And so if we can figure out how to get this wrapped up in some shape or form, get moving before the Olympics gets here, so that we have a mechanism to ensure that doesn't get used much broader during the Olympics. Councilmember.
I just want to reiterate something that was very important that our city manager said, and we need to finish these specific plans. Mm-hmm. It leads to housing, and people are waiting for these specific plans so we can maybe get the Kmart site developed and maybe get the IKEA site developed. And I really, really want to get these specific plans done to get housing to our residents who, you hear them every night, every time we have a meeting. So it's not that it's important, but I think getting these specific plans are just really key for not only our revenue, because we're in the red the next 3 years, for revenue, tax purposes, synergy, and housing.
Okay, so what about this proposal? So to get the Airbnb topics, short-term rentals back in the queue, focusing on full ban, and then if it's okay in the staff report to have a reminder of what we brought up the previous time as a comparison, and then also a full discussion on the challenges or the way that enforcement works. Would that work for everybody?
Yeah. We would include the last staff report just
Yeah.
for you,
Yeah.
right, along with what you guys directed us to do.
Yeah.
And the good news is 2028 is it's 2 years away. So, give him a breather so he can bring the SB 79 and the specific plans. And this is what we're looking at in the next 6 months, 7 months of getting some of these reports back to us. And I definitely agree with you. It is important. We discussed it and we said, okay, we don't want to do it. Bring us a full ban. And we've been nonstop with housing issues.
Yeah.
And I don't want to create another problem for housing issues that they need to come back to fix. So let it be for now what we're doing, and then bring the report back, I think, in the queue.
Priority stage. Okay,
Yes.
by the end of the year. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
So I think that it's pretty much status quo with just a little bit more direction, a little bit more input, so it doesn't need to be voted on.
I think we got it. Yeah,
Okay,
no,
great.
we have direction, so
Great.
I feel good.
Thank you for working through this and bringing the item back to our attention and hierarchy. Great, thanks. Okay. Now is the time for introduction of additional agenda items. Do members of the council have any items to introduce? Yes, Vice Mayor.
I do, and that is to support sending a letter regarding SB 1198. We all received the email from Robe Hakopian regarding the support of driving safety campaign. And so the letter would be sent to Senator Manjavar, copying her staff, and then also the Armenian Association. So if council agrees we send a letter to support to the senator supporting the actual bill that she's putting together for the driving safety campaign.
Is this
So
what
if I
it's
could,
on?
I think we could forego the additional agenda item step, assuming that it fits into our recently adopted legislative platform, which I think it does regarding safety and reckless driving. So, so if the council agrees, we will double check the language and stuff. I think it falls within the platform, and bring it. We could draft up a letter for signature to support, and you guys don't then have to agendize it.
Perfect. Sounds good. Yeah, Councilmember.
So I have two items, one in the similar vein. Last year, I believe we wrote a letter in support of Assemblymember Harabedian's push to get Armenians listed on the census. There's a letter I received from the Glendale City Clerk about sending a letter in support to our Congress members. There's something happening at the Justice Department where they're slow rolling that issue. So I can get you the language if you want to bring it back. It's basically reaffirming our support for Armenians to be considered on a separate line in the census. And I can get you the language if you want.
Yeah, we did send a letter. I think at the time it was Schiff, and I forget who else, but we could look at that, and we have new electeds, so we could revisit that and send additional letters.
Okay.
If this group agrees.
Yeah, it's under.
This is not a period to agree to send letters.
It
This
still
is a
falls
period.
underneath our legislative.
Yeah, but you're not
task.
voting on anything right now. This
Right.
is to add additional agenda items.
So this is what I'd like to add, that letter, and I'll give you the language so we can talk about it in the next session. And then my other agenda item, can I get something in the whammer, just a memo, and I want to try to be super narrow on this so it's not too much work. Any state or city ordinance that we've ever passed that regulates rental properties for fewer than 12 months lease. So
that needs to come back as an additional agenda item. We are really, we've been in a 3-year process on tenant protection, so.
Well, this is what I'm looking for.
This is going to require prioritization.
For a report, just.
See if I can be narrower with this. I guess just information back. If trying to do it so it doesn't have to be part of this whole thing.
Well, so every report that's been brought back to the council in the last 3 years has a chronology of every effort the council has made.
Okay, let's do this.
So we could send you a prior staff report which details everything that's been before the council.
Yes, I've gone through those, and it's not in there.
It's not enough.
So
you should bring this back for
for
discussion.
Yeah, so let me ask you this. Can I ask that the next time we bring back anything to do with rentals or tenant protections, to include a discussion on leases less than 12 months? How would I...
So you would wait for the item to come back because we already received direction from council, and we're working on the direction we received from council.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that could
That's
be
fine.
a
I'll do that.
question and further information in our next report that comes
Okay,
back.
that's
Yeah,
fine.
Okay. Great. Anything else? Okay. Guess what? Right on time, like literally 2 minutes, according to my little timing paper, 2 minutes before the projected end time. We now adjourn the meeting in memory of Linda Murphy to Tuesday, March 10th, 2026 for a joint meeting in the council chamber here at 275 East Olive Avenue, second floor. Thank you and good night all.